government area of the state. Briefing journalists after a closed-door meeting with Governor Makinde, Tanimu Turaki condemned the country's security architecture, saying the visit was aimed at commiserating with the government and people of Oyo State over the unfortunate incidents that recently occurred in Oluyole local government area and in Ibadan, the state capital.
We are aware of the efforts that His Excellency have been doing to make sure that the people in Oyo State are safe, to make sure that the frontiers of this state are safe. Now, seeing events like this happening, in spite of the colossal amounts of money that His Excellency have been spending in that regard, is something that gives us serious concern, especially when election is approaching. So we've come to strengthen him and strengthen the people of Oyo State and say that this thing shall pass by the special grace of God.
Turaki, while expressing confidence in measures so far taken by Governor Makinde to ensure the safe release of the abducted victims, advocated for governors as chief security officers of their state to be granted full control of security matters and agencies operating within their domains.
Where you will see the governor is the chief security officer in a state, and he has no control over the troops and the security agencies that work and live in the state, then it's something that should have to be reconsidered again. I cannot imagine where a governor will preside over his security council meeting in his state, and then decisions are taken, and then the inspector general, the commissioner of police will have to get clearance from the inspector general of police in Abuja, or the commandant of the military will have to also talk to his superiors in Abuja, by which time a lot of damage will have been done.
According to the senior advocate of Nigeria, proper implementation of such reforms will help prevent and significantly reduce insecurity across the country. Oluyole Sulaiman, BCS News.
Suspected bandits have reportedly invaded the Yashikira community in Bautin local government area of Kwara State early this morning, setting the Emir's palace ablaze and abducting several residents, including women and children. It was gathered that the attack occurred late Sunday night when the heavily armed assailants stormed the community, firing sporadically. According to sources in the area, the gunmen attacked the palace during the invasion, setting parts of the royal residence on fire before whisking away multiple victims. Residents said that the attackers operated for hours without resistance, leaving behind destruction and fear in the border community. Sources said security forces have launched immediate rescue operations to free victims of the Yashikira abduction, which occurred on Sunday night, as military and police operatives have established a cordon in the area as part of efforts to rescue about 10 persons who were reportedly abducted from the community. The attackers also sought to raid the local police station but were reportedly repelled.
Security experts have called on the government to adopt proactive and sustained measures to address the growing insecurity across the country, warning that failure to act decisively could further worsen the situation. A former chairman of the Nigerian Legion in Oyo State, Alhaji Lasisi Adetunji, and a security expert, Dr. Adekunle Okunla, made the call while featuring on BCO's television current affairs breakfast program AM 120. Our reporter Olamide Olabi reports.
Over insecurity continues to mount following the abduction of students and teachers in Oluyole local government's area of Oyo State, as well as the recent kidnap of staff members of the Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria, Crane, at Idianyure in Ibadan. Speaking at the AM 120 program, former chairman of the Nigerian Legion in Oyo State, Alhaji Lasisi Adetunji, said the recent attacks revealed lapses in the nation's security architecture and exposed inadequate preparedness by relevant authorities to prevent such incidents. He noted that security challenges persist because authorities often relax after resolving crises instead of implementing lasting preventive measures to forestall future occurrences.
If the government is serious about it, the way they handle the one that, okay, the defense is now saying that those people that they have faced very well in the north, they are the one, the remaining of them that the one ran to the south. Can't we continue that mobilizing? Can't we continue that aggressive attack? If you begin to say somebody today, for instance, you know what happened the day the first of all abducted these people. The second day, you see how terrible the thing was when they said they located they got their location. And you know what happened there. But by now, it has gotten worse, because the more you give chance for somebody to settle down and begin to think, the more difficult for you. And we are now at the weaker side of the rope, you see. And that is why they say they are not going to negotiate with individual, they are going to negotiate with the government, because they want money from the government.
Also speaking, security expert Dr. Adekunle Okola described the growing boldness of terrorists and kidnappers as disturbing, noting that criminal groups now openly release videos and make demands directly to the government. He stressed that kidnapping would remain difficult to eradicate as long as ransom payments continue, adding that the crime has gradually become a lucrative enterprise for perpetrators. He also faulted President Bola Tinubu's visit to Lagos for APC primary election without visiting the Oluyole community to sympathize with victims and the Oyo State government over the unfortunate incident.
The situation is bad. It's quite bad. People are not sleeping well again, because anything can happen at any time to anybody. And you know, security breeds on information. Security agents are not ghosts, they are human beings. It is the information that they received that they work on. So if our intelligence gathering agencies, and we have so many of them, if they are not giving the police the military information, then there is nothing the security of it can do.
The security experts advised Nigerians to remain vigilant, stay security conscious, and promptly report suspicious movements and activities within their communities to relevant security agencies. Olamide Wolabi, BCOS News.
We now take a short commercial break.
Unstoppable you, fueling your vitality the whole day through. Embrace each challenge with renewed might. With Supermalt, your performance takes flight.
With 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, one Supermalt multivitamin after breakfast every day keeps you going.
Supermalt, unstoppable you.
You're welcome back. The Federal High Court in Abuja today adjourned a forfeiture case filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) against 9 properties linked to former Governor Timothy Silva of Bayelsa until July 16. Justice Obiora Egwatu adjourned the matter following the inability of the EFCC's lawyer Oluyole Atolagbe to file a report of compliance in respect of the earlier interim order granted against the properties. According to reports, Justice Egwatu had on April 24 ordered the temporary forfeiture of the 9 properties linked to Silva, who is also a former Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, to the federal government. The affected assets are located across high-value areas in Abuja.
This broadcast of Newscope is coming to you from the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, Ibadan. The Nigeria Immigration Service (NIS) has warned Nigerians against attempting to leave the country without valid travel documents, stressing that such actions are illegal and expose individuals to serious risks. The Service Public Relations Officer DCI AS Akinlabi, in a public alert posted on X on today, said the service cautioned that all international travel must be carried out with a valid passport, visa where required, and other approved immigration documents. It noted that any attempt to bypass official procedures or use unauthorized border routes constitutes a violation of Nigerian law. The NIS also raised concern over the growing use of fraudulent migration schemes, where criminal networks lure unsuspecting citizens, particularly young people, with false promises of employment, education, or better living conditions abroad. The agency urged Nigerians to verify all travel and recruitment offers through official channels and avoid dealing with unregistered agents or individuals promoting irregular migration.
The Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority (NCAA) has temporarily suspended its No Pay No Service enforcement directive against domestic airlines over outstanding statutory remittances, citing the need to protect operational stability within the country's aviation industry. In a statement signed by the Director General of the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, Chris Najomo, today, the authority said the suspension followed extensive consultations within the aviation sector and a careful assessment of prevailing realities in the industry. The decision comes amid growing concerns from operators and stakeholders that strict enforcement of the directive could worsen the financial strain already confronting airlines, battling rising aviation fuel prices, foreign exchange instability, and increasing operational costs. The regulator, however, clarified that the suspension should not be interpreted as a cancellation, waiver, or forgiveness of debts owed by airlines to the authority and other aviation agencies. The NCAA recalled that President Bola Tinubu had earlier approved a 30% discount on outstanding fees owed by domestic airlines to aviation agencies as part of measures to cushion the impact of high jet A1 prices and support the sector.
No fewer than 1,800 youths from Ogidi in Idemili North Local Government Area today blocked the Onitsha-Awka Old Road in protest over worsening flood disaster ravaging the area. The youths, under the leadership of Chris Obi Okafor, president of Ogidi Youths, described the situation as unbearable. They carried placards with different inscriptions as they marched through the community, saying flood waters had submerged buildings and destroyed properties worth millions of naira. The protesters called for urgent intervention from both the federal government and the Anambra state government.
As millions of Muslims across the world performing the Hajj pilgrimage in the Holy Land of Saudi Arabia prepare to ascend Mount Arafat, attention is once again focused on what is regarded as the spiritual peak of the pilgrimage. Staff reporter Bimisola Debayo examines how intending pilgrims are preparing spiritually and physically for the sacred exercise, as well as the significance attached to standing at Arafat. Here are the details.
Muslims, Hajj remains one of the 5 pillars of Islam, a sacred obligation for every faithful with the financial and physical ability to undertake the journey at least once in a lifetime. Among the rites of Hajj, the day of Arafat occupies a unique position as pilgrims gather on the plain of Arafat in deep supplication, seeking forgiveness, mercy, and divine blessings. The day of Arafat, which falls on the 9th day of Dhul Hijjah, also commemorates the farewell sermon delivered by Prophet Muhammad during his final pilgrimage. For intending pilgrims, ascending Mount Arafat is not merely a physical gathering, but a moment of reflection, repentance, and renewed commitment to faith and humanity. Speaking on the significance of Mount Arafat, an Islamic scholar, Dr. Mikhail Abdul Salam, explained that the day of Arafat marks the completion and the divine approval of the 23-year prophetic mission of Prophet Muhammad. He described the day as one of the most sacred periods in Islam, noting that prayers offered on Arafat carry immense spiritual significance. Dr. Abdul Salam also noted that Muslims who are not participating in the Hajj are encouraged to observe fasting on the day of Arafat, which is Tuesday, 26th of May 2026, as an act that attracts reward such as forgiveness, mercy, and spiritual upliftment.
Prophet Muhammad was assigned as the Prophet of Allah at the age of 40. He took over the month of prophethood right from then, which spanned for almost 23 years. So it was that day that the prophet received stamp from Allah that today I've perfected your religion for you. When the prophet marked the month of Arafat, he was addressing the whole lot of Muslims who are also on pilgrimage on that day. So it was the day of acceptance.
On the foreign scene, at least 4 people have been killed and 17 others missing after a building under construction collapsed in the Philippines. Authorities say a search and rescue efforts are underway. Rescuers retrieved at least 3 people today from the rubble of the 9-story building in the city of Angeles, north of the capital, Manila. One of the victims had a pulse when he was retrieved, but later died, while another suffered cardiac arrest while still trapped. Maria Sajeli, an information officer at the Bureau of Fire Protection, said in a phone interview with journalists. Crews pulled the body of another person from the rubble, but it was not immediately clear if the unidentified person belonged to a person listed among the missing, rescuers said in an updated toll. Due to that uncertainty, authorities said about 17 people were still considered missing, mostly construction workers who were sleeping at the building site when the disaster struck on Sunday. The 4th person killed was a Malaysian tourist trapped in a budget inn, part of which was hit by an avalanche of debris from the collapsed building. Another guest at the inn was injured but managed to dash out. At least 26 people have been rescued from the site.
To end this edition of Newscope, here again are the main points. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, has warned that Nigeria faces a high risk of importing the Ebola virus disease, EVD, due to ongoing outbreaks in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda.
The leadership of the Interim National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), alongside members of the party's Board of Trustees (BOT), has called for a comprehensive overhaul of Nigeria's security architecture to address the growing insecurity across the country.
The Federal High Court in Abuja today adjourned a forfeiture case filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) against 9 properties linked to former Governor Timipre Silva of Bayelsa until July 16.
On the foreign scene, at least 4 people have been killed and 17 others are missing after a building under construction collapsed in the Philippines.
Well, if you see something suspicious, alert the authorities immediately for timely response. Be vigilant. That's all from Newscope Desk for now. It was packaged by Taiwo at DME and delivered by
Josephine Oluwabumi. Good evening.
My name is Boluwaji Ogumola. Thanks for listening, and do not forget to tune in for the Yoruba version at 8 p.m. Good evening once again.
Oluyole FM 98.5.
Ibi gíga Olúyọ̀lé là ń gbọ́ tó bá jẹ́ tètò tó nítumọ̀. Olúyọ̀lé là ń gbọ́ tó bá jẹ́ tètò tó pínmírín.
Kéré o, ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ló pàrokò ìbéèrè ránṣẹ́ sí yín ká lè jọmọ bó ṣe ń lọ. Wọ́n ní ǹjẹ́ mọ̀ pé ní báyìí ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ńlá ni kéèyàn já yanrìn, wọ́rọ̀kúta, ọparun, òkúta lílà àtàwọn èròjà àkọlé sójú pópó. Ṣé mọ̀ pé ẹ̀yìn àmọ̀ kì í ṣe léègbín, bẹ́ẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ lójú pópó kì í ṣàyè ìgbọ́kọ̀ tó ti godó sí. Bóyá lẹ mọ̀ pé ìwà ìbìkítà wọ̀nyí ló ń sọ àwọn òpópónà tó fẹ̀ dáadáa di tórótó ṣàkóbá fún lílọ bíbọ̀ gerege ọkọ̀. Àníṣẹ́ àṣà pálapàla ìlòkulò àwọn ọ̀nà tíjọba fowó gọbọi ṣe ló ń ṣokùnfà ìdíbàjẹ́ wọn láìtọ́jọ́ tó sì ń gbọ́n owó tùlù tó yẹ kó lọ sórí ìpèsè àwọn ohun amáyédẹrùn míì lọ lákòótọ́ ọba. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ẹ wá gbọ́, àjèjì ọwọ́ kan ò gbẹ́rù dórí níjọba ṣe fẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ gbárùkù ti òun fún ìrànlọ́wọ́ ara wa pé ká ní àyípadà ọkàn sí bá a ṣe ń lo dúkìá ìlú ká má bàa farakátà òfin tó tayéye. Àjẹ́ pé ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń kọ́lé lọ́wọ́ nírònà àtàbádékọ́lé gan-an tẹ́ ẹ kúrò jíjá èròjà ìkọ́lé sójú pópó ẹ̀yà ajẹ́kórókè fáǹfààní mùtúmùwà tó ń lo òpópónà. Kékulé ó gbọ́ ó sọ fún toko kádùn ó gbọ́ kóròyìn fóbẹ̀ pé láti àkókò yìí lọ ìjọba bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí fi ọwọ́ ṣẹ̀kún òfin tó gbóná girigiri mú ẹni yòówù tó bá já èlò kọ́lé tàbí gbé òkú ọkọ̀ sójú títì ṣe ìdíwọ́ fún ìjágere lílọ bíbọ̀ ọkọ̀. Torí náà ẹ wá gbo dẹ́kun fún ìwà ìlákàsí, ẹ bọ̀wọ̀ fófin àlàáfíà àyíká àti tìrìnà lójú pópó káwùjọ wa lè dùn wò kó rẹwà láti gbé fún tonílé tàlejò. Ká máa rántí pé awífúnni kó tó dání àgbà àjàkadì ní o. Ilé iṣẹ́ BCOS ló ń kí gbogbo wa nílọ̀ pé ìgbọràn sàn jẹ̀bọ rírú.
Ọ̀pọ̀ dúkìá tẹ̀mí ìyá àpọ̀ láyé gbogbo ẹrù mi ló ti bọ́ mi lọ. Ẹ̀wọ̀ tẹlifíṣàn, fíríjì, àpótí aṣọ mi gbogbo wa wá ń bọ́ mi lọ yìí. Ẹ̀ẹ́dúnwó lé mi náà lójúdúnwó lápá kan. Ọlọ́run kòkò rẹ̀ mí o. Bàbá àbádọ́wọ́ ẹ̀yìn náà o. Èyí lọ náà o. Ọlọ́run ní bẹ́ẹ̀ ká rírú rẹ̀ mọ́ o. Ẹ̀yin náà ibi tí ẹ̀kọ́ ló sì yí ọ̀dà o. Àwọn arígbó ìwékù náà sì máa gbọ́. Ẹ má kàn ló tó tí omi. Ẹ má kàn ló tó jú ọ̀dà. Ẹ sì tọ́ fáwọn ọmọ yín kí wọ́n má dànù tó jú ọ̀dà mọ́. Nǹkan tí ń fa omi ya náírà nù. Ọlọ́run ní bẹ́ẹ̀ ká rírú eléyìí mọ́ o.
Oluyole.
Oluyole 98.5 FM.
I am malaria, the king of malaria parasites. My mission is simple: to take over your body, to cause fever, chills, headache. But one thing stands in my way. Come on.
Effective relief from malaria. Comal on malaria gone. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult doctor.
Rédíò tí ó láfiwé, Olúyọ̀lé FM, àwa ni bàbá.
Lágbo Àkàndá ó balẹ̀ bí ẹ̀rà dẹ̀dẹ̀ lórí ìkànnì Olúyọ̀lé 98.5 FM Ìbàdàn. Aṣíwájú ìjòwò àwọ̀lúmọ̀tẹ́ decent presenter máa wọlé. Lágbo Àkàndá lẹ́tọ̀kọ́ ìtùkọ̀tẹ́ mọ̀ gbọ́ lórí ìkànnì Olúyọ̀lé 98.5 FM Ìbàdàn. Ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ìṣẹ́gun Tuesdays ní dédé agogo 5 kọjá ìṣẹ́jú 5 dago 6 bẹ̀rẹ̀. Àwọn ipá wo làkàndá ń kó láti mú ìdàgbàsókè àti ìlọsíwájú bá àwùjọ. Àwọn wo ni wọ́n ń fojú lámì ìtọ́wò àwọn àkàndá káàkiri àwùjọ àti ibi gbogbo. Pápá bí wọ́n ti máa ń pè ya mọ́ ṣàlàyé yànnàná àwọn ipa àti ìwúlò àkàndá.